we've been told that in these last days, right would be wrong, wrong would be called right, everything upside down, backwards, inside out. So it has been with us as individuals. Our big, pressing concerns are always with the animal, the physical self. And the spirit self, for most people, has been silenced, repressed, held in check, only given certain occasions and opportunities to express itself. So now we're coming through Passover and the Feast of Unleavened Bread. So we're getting the leavening out of ourselves, the false beliefs, hypocrisy, false judgments, misperceptions, things like that. So now we're getting ready. We've been cleansed, and we are getting ready for Shavuot. Shavuot is in remembrance of receiving and agreeing to the covenant at Mount Sinai with Moses. And so you want your wedding garments on. This is a spiritual message. And so this is the time when our big, physical, needy self becomes the small me. And the spiritual self becomes the big me. These are your garments. This is what you're cleansing, is your spirit being. How is your spirit? Is it on fire with wanting to correct wrongs, with wanting people to feel good about themselves? You know, do you see a person in need and go, oh, I hate for them that they feel like they have to be there and put a sign before themselves, mark themselves as somebody lacking, when they are just as much a man as you or I, and thus just as loved and deserving and worthy of sustenance from our Creator. Are we moved to give them enough where they're like, thank you, I am putting down this sign for the day, I do not want to be on this corner? It doesn't matter if it has to be enough for a couple cans of beer, or maybe whatever their fix is before a hotel room, something to bring their body comfort. What I learned when COVID hit and a whole bunch of people who had been living on the streets, homeless, and had no income, got the unemployment. We knew somebody who knew how to apply for it, so he would apply for it for us. And what we discovered was those who got that unemployment, you can say falsely or unfalsely, I'm not judging, it's the people who are like in charge of resources that are to blame for this, you know, and that's according to scripture as well. So they started doing less drugs. They started getting off drugs because $5, you may be able to get a burger at a fast food joint. You may be able to get a fix of something that will make you forget that you're cold, you're uncomfortable, and you're hungry. But if you give somebody $100, they can be warm, well-fed, and sometimes they forget, or they don't need so much of that thing that makes them forget that they could only choose one thing to obtain today. And they can feel like a self-respecting human being. And people who feel self-respect know what it feels like, and they know how to extend it. An empty cup cannot give you water. And so a cup full of self-respect can give self-respect to another. Give respect in reference to that one's self. And so then they can get the feeling of what it is to be respected, and then they could strive for that for themselves. That's what happened to me. I made some comment like, I'm not going to settle for being talked to that way. And the person's response was, what, do you think you're better than everybody else now? And my response to that was, no. Somewhere along the way, somebody treated me with respect, and I've decided that's how I want to be treated, and I don't want to accept anything less. I don't even remember who it was. I don't remember the exact circumstances, but they helped me put on garments of the Spirit that I can extend to other people who are naked in that respect. Charity is not just about money. It is not about donating your used clothes into a drop box. It's not taking your trash to the local donation center and letting poor people rummage through it and decide what's salvageable. Charity includes judgment and perception of others. Do you judge somebody as trash, not worth your time, not worth your effort? Maybe today they can't appreciate your effort, but it doesn't mean that a year down the road they won't. And they may not even realize it until they do it for somebody else, not realizing until they do it that, oh yeah, somebody did that for me. I have that to give to somebody else. And so they self-realize something about themselves of value. And that's what our Creator comes to do, is to show us our value. Yeah, He will shed a light on where we go wrong, but He sheds a light where we go right and we didn't even know it. He lends His glory to us, and then He shines a light on it so we can see it. And these are our wedding garments. These are what we want to put on as we approach Shavuot, and either become a part of that exchange, or we renew that exchange. So, how are your garments coming? Is your small person now your physical self, and your spirit is your big person? Or is your spirit still your little person, and your ego, your worldly, physical, animal self, your big person? Make that the small person. Make the spirit the big person. And wear that as a wedding gown. Or as a wedding tux. Your tuxedo, dear sir, with the white t-shirt underneath.